Rise and shine. You're watching WCTV Eyewitness News. The Good Morning Show starts now.
Right now in South Georgia, a new homeless shelter now handling the challenge of potentially becoming a storm shelter.
And over in Florida, residents in Steinhatchee preparing for Hurricane Dorian while still recovering from severe flooding from over a week ago.
But first, Hurricane Dorian is forecast to make landfall this holiday weekend, potentially as a powerful Category 4 hurricane, threatening lives and property. Meteorologist Rob Nucatola has the latest for us. He joins us right now. Rob, what has changed overnight and what do we know now?
You know, not a lot changed overnight. From the 11 p.m. advisory to the 5 a.m. advisory, very little change. But we are starting to get a little bit better agreement on the where we think it's going part. And as we go through our day today, I think especially by 5 o'clock tonight, we should have an even better handle on that and be able to shrink that cone of uncertainty even more. This is what it looks like on the tropical satellite imagery. Still a long way from the Bahamas, still a really long way from Florida's coast right now. And we can see that center trying to organize itself right there in the middle. It did get a little bit stronger from 5 p.m. to 11 o'clock last night, and it's staying at that strength in the overnight period. Usually when we get the visible satellite going, once we get a little bit later on into the morning, we start to see some more of those overshooting tops, some of those more bursts of convection. That would indicate maybe some more strengthening possible. And while yesterday this was interacting with a whole bunch of dry air, I don't see that dry air having the same influence on it today. As a matter of fact, it's harder to find that drier air. There's some to the south of it right now, but it doesn't look like it's being pulled into the system like yesterday's was. We've been watching this little tiny counterclockwise swirl out ahead of it for the past couple of days too. One of the things that could help steer it a little bit, but that's getting a lot smaller and that's starting to move back towards the west as expected. So that's going to allow, I think, the storm itself to turn a little bit more to the west, and it can kind of sort of get behind that little area of lower pressure and ride it on in. So this is what we'll be watching for today. Another day or two in the future, we start to watch for a ridge of higher pressure to build, and that also should be able to steer this a little bit more and start to push it back towards the coast of Florida. But remember the timing here. Today is Friday. All of this over the next 24 hours is going to move only a little bit. And then on Saturday, it's only going to move a little bit. And by Sunday and Monday, now we start looking for it to get closer and closer to the coasts of Florida, if that's indeed where it's going. And it's looking more and more like that's where it's going, east coast of Florida. But we still have some time to adjust that. Here's the probability of tropical storm force winds. So we're talking 39 or 40 mile per hour winds and higher. And this starts, by the way, Friday morning, right? But watch what happens as we get to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Now we start to see those probabilities go way up for parts of maybe from Melbourne south on the east coast of Florida. Also notice that our area, highly unlikely that as we get through Wednesday, we ever get any of those winds around here. Now that can still change. So it's still a long way into the future, but at this point, it's looking more like a South Florida kind of thing. Let's see how that continues going through the upcoming weekend, guys.
Okay, Rob, thanks so much. In Taylor County, people are preparing for the worst after they saw 30 inches of rain just last week. Sophia, you know this very well. Those individuals in Steinhatchee experiencing flooding due to that large amount of rainfall.
Now, the water has cleared, but residents are concerned and worried, waiting for Hurricane Dorian. I was there yesterday. I returned to Steinhatchee to find out what people there are doing ahead of Hurricane Dorian.
Just a week ago, Janalia England's yard was covered in water. It's almost washed away, but what was left in its wake remains.
If it comes and sits like the other one did, if it stalls, you know, we could be in trouble here in Steinhatchee.
Her house filled with the constant whirring.
They're nonstop all day, day and night, just running these fans and stuff to dry the house out. And we got another 4 or 5 days of that, and we got a hurricane that's due to be here around the time we're supposed to cut these things off.
Her family has been focused on rebuilding, nervous for what's to come.
If it brings another 30, 40 inches, my house will be doomed. Last time it was 3 rooms, this time it might be the whole house.
Those like Wanda Ellison preparing for the worst.
You can't take it for granted all the time what they think is going to happen. We've seen it change, so I'm just getting prepared.
Being on the coast, she says it comes with the territory.
Somebody's got to get it, and I don't want anybody else to have it either, but I just want to be prepared as I can in case it does happen.
preparing by filling up sandbags and at the pump, hoping to see little wind and no rain.
It just depends on how much rain it is, but the ground can't take anymore. So even if it's just a little bit, I mean, there's nowhere for it to go at this point.
Wishing Hurricane Dorian won't affect the area.
I want anybody else to get hit, but at the same time, this little town can't really take much more.
Again, to view those sandbag locations, you can visit our website, WCTV.tv.
So South Georgia is also prepping for Dorian. Governor Brian Kemp activating the state's Emergency Management Center. Kemp declaring a state of emergency in 12 counties. Now, none of them are in our area. The governor still asking everyone to be prepared as they continue to track the storm. And staying in Georgia, Thursday evening, the Thomasville Board of Realtors presenting a $1,600 check, all to help a local effort.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I could use that money. The new homeless shelter, Fountain of Life Rescue Mission off East Clay Street. It's also the only shelter within several surrounding counties.
Our Nolani Matthews shows us how it's handling the challenge of potentially becoming a storm shelter.
After only 2 months of opening this shelter to the local homeless, Fountain of Life is now also preparing to weather their first storm.
One of the reasons it drove us to do what we're doing today, was open up a shelter so there would be a place.
Bad weather and the lack of resources that once pushed founder Jimmy Moore to create a safe place.
We absolutely need people to step up and help, especially during these times.
With the first wave of storms finally here, they say plans are prepared, but help falling short.
Right now, we're just more or less trying to figure out, make sure we have enough volunteers on hand to be able to keep the shelter open, to make sure that we are prepared and ready as possible.
Inside, warm beds to comfortably shelter from wind and rain. But first, they'll need a fully staffed facility.
These are your neighbors. You may not see them on the street every day, but they're still here. They're part of our community.
The shelter operates from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m., broken into 2 shifts, needing at least 2 volunteers for each. They tell me as they prepare, they'll be in contact with community partners and be monitoring the storm's path into the weekend. Reporting in Thomasville, Nolani Matthews, WCTV, Eyewitness News.
To find out how you can contact the shelter, you can visit our website, WCTV.tv. More on The Good Morning Show when we return.